BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Hello, I'm Amy Canavan and this is the Scottish Football Podcast, here once again to kickstart your week with the final word on the weekend's action.
Eagleman with a strike, Eagleman with a brilliant goal! Superb strike from Hamza Eagleman, and the half-time substitute has revived Rangers.
Can ragged Rangers recover after falling 14 points behind Celtic with yet more dropped points at Firth Park?
And it comes to the head, there's in! United have won it! Yet another late goal for Dundee United seals 3 points, and Aberdeen's misery in this winter of discontent will continue.
How high can Dundee United go after heaping more misery on Aberdeen? And
launched towards the box. Can Gordon deal? No, he can't! Jordan White taps home! A calamitous and costly collapse.
how significant will Jordan White's 99th minute equaliser be in the relegation battle after the latest of late drama in Dingwall?
The Scottish Football Podcast.
It's been an absolute festive feast of football this weekend, or just this Sunday, and I'm delighted to say that delving into all of it with me is former Rangers and Motherwell striker Ross McCormack and former Celtic captain and Dundee United manager Jackie McNamara. Gents, that was a real treat of weekend festive football, wasn't it? What's the highlight for you, Jackie?
I think there's been a few highlights there. Obviously, Celtic are into a big game on Thursday, comprehensive win at home, 4-0. Very comfortable in the game. It sets them up really nicely for Thursday. Rested a few players to start with as well, with Callum McGregor getting rested. So, they'll be fresh for that as well. So, yeah, that sets them up for a good week.
Got a funny feeling, Ross, that's not your highlight, but can you pick any?
I'm going to go with Dundee, to be honest. A good result away to St Mirren.
He's lofted to that back post. Astley flips it back across, and there's Murray! He's scored his second! Dundee are back in front! St Mirren don't deal with the initial cross. Astley flicks it back over. And there was Simon Murray. Ruthless this time. It's his second header of the match and Dundee's second of the evening.
St Mirren would have been flying high in confidence after beating Rangers. So to go there and get the result, the 3 points there, it'll be massive for them. I've been quite, I don't want to say disappointed, maybe a little bit underwhelmed. I know that they lost McCowan quite late on in the window, but I thought they would do a little bit better than they're doing this year. But that's an outstanding result. Can't take that away from them.
Absolutely. A cracking result for Dundee. Many cracking results across the board. So as we record, it is the evening of Sunday, the 29th of December. We'll delve into all the action shortly. But before we get into things in more depth, let's quickly run through the headlines. There was late drama in the late game on Sunday as Kevin Holt's 94th minute winner was enough to give Dundee United 3 points at home to Aberdeen. Earlier in the day, Rangers came from 2 goals down to earn a 2-2 draw with Motherwell at Firth Park. The result leaves them 14 points behind league leaders Celtic, who cruised to a comfortable 4-0 home win over St Johnstone. Hibs secured their 4th win in a row by beating Kilmarnock by a solitary goal at Easter Road after Killie were yet again reduced to 10 men. That's the 8th time this season. Dundee were 2-1 winners over St Mirren in Paisley, as Ross said. And Ross County scored in the 97th and 99th minute to snatch a 2-2 draw at the death and stun Hearts in Dingwall. Well, it really was the Sunday of late drama, but let's start at Firth Park, where Motherwell and Rangers drew 2-2. Coming after they lost at St Mirren the other night, Rangers, how damaging is that a result for Philippe Clement yet again, Ross, and how much pressure is he now under with that game that Jackie alluded to on Thursday looming?
Severe pressure, to be honest with you. I think he's probably, I look at it and probably say that he's lucky. He's lucky about 2 things. I think it's the Old Firm game next. If it wasn't the Old Firm game next, I think they could have made a change after this game today. But I don't think you can do that before an Old Firm game. Too much havoc would be caused. And also, I know Rangers fans won't agree with it, but the difference in coming back from 2-2, from 2-0 down and getting 2-2, you can get a lot more positives out of that than you can if you got beat. I just feel... I don't know. Jackie might agree with me. Probably played in the wrong era. I keep hearing all these things about you've got to rest the players and You know, you don't want them getting injured, but then you bring them on at half time. Surely you would rather, me personally, if I was a manager, and I've never been a manager and I don't ever want to be one, but I would like to have my strongest team available on the field, get into a lead and take them off after 55, 60 minutes if you've got to give them a rest.
That's it. It was 7 changes, Jackie, wasn't it, from St Mirren to Motherwell on Sunday? As Ross mentioned, Clement then calls on Czerny and Eagman at half time and really requires them. But 7 changes, he actually said in his pre-match interview that it might that it might have a consequence on the fluidity of the side. So he's already making the 7 changes, then saying it may hamper the fluidity. Do you agree with Ross that you start with that stronger, get the points almost in the bag, and then rest your players?
Yeah, I think when you make that many changes and you're resting people, Thursday game doesn't matter if they don't win. You know, the pressure's now turned back on them again after the result last week. So they need to win every game and try and stay in Celtic's coattails. And Celtic can afford to lose a game on Thursday now. You know, they've still got a real cushion in front of them. Celtic rested players as well. But if you don't win, you make the changes and make the decisions as a manager, being them myself, and you don't win, it gives everybody a chance to have a pop. You know, when they're 2-0 down, I think at that stage, they probably were taking a 2-2 draw at that point. Motherwell were a bit unfortunate not to go 3-1 was offside. The other one was a soft free kick and the goalkeeper made a bit of a messy one. They got away with it a little bit. But, you know, Motherwell are a good side at home. You can't take anybody lightly in this league, especially away from home. And, you know, when he makes that many changes, he puts himself under a bit of pressure.
Yeah, it's a fantastic result for Motherwell in this fantastic start. Well, you can't really say start now, we're actually halfway through the season, but this fantastic way that they have kicked off their Premiership campaign this time round. And Jackie mentions it there, Ross, they are looking at that 2-2 draw. It could have been so much worse, particularly there is the offside goal, but then there is the goal where it's not a goal. Tony Watt is quite close to Jack Butland. He parries it into his own net. I think Stuart Kettlewell afterwards has said that he's flabbergasted that decision has been given. It's overprotection of the goalkeeper. Can you understand his frustration?
Absolutely, yeah. But then I don't want to say that the referees were evening it up, but I think for the first goal, Motherwell's first goal, even though his sort of hand is down there and it's tucked in, but I think because it's such a big moment, it's such a significant thing that if that goal would have been chopped off, then I don't think anyone would have sort of disagreed with it either. So I think it sort of swings and roundabouts, but I think it was definitely soft. You watch it from behind, and Tony Watt's actually got his arm and his hand on his shoulder. He's not like in any way, shape or form blocking Butland's right arm from coming up. So it's very, very soft. But as we said there, 2-0 up at home to Rangers. I thought they were well worth it as well, Motherwell, to be honest. I thought Rangers were off it, but you've got to give some credit to Motherwell. Motherwell were, first half especially, I thought they were great. 2 lads up front, absolute nuisances.
I was just going to say, that Maswanisi goal, you'd have loved that.
Here's Maswanisi in the box, turns away from one and then gets the finish in, finds the bottom corner. Oh, it's a brilliant goal. What a goal from Tawanda Maswanisi. And Rangers are in all sorts of bother at Fir Park.
That second touch is world class. Ridiculous. I reckon if I tried that, I might have buckled my knee, to be honest. But not even just a second touch. To put it away the way he did with the finish, incredible.
And what confidence this can give Motherwell, as I say, a great season that they are having, but going to Tynecastle, a place where we will shortly get onto how the Hearts support are feeling, but it's going to be a toxic home atmosphere for Hearts. Motherwell can really go there with great confidence, Jackie.
Yeah, they can, and as I said, they're scoring goals, they're creating chances. I think I do like their setup. You know, I think he's got them playing a decent style of football. Only bit the lad Lennon Miller going off injured. You hope there's nothing too serious. He looked like it sore on his ankle. But I do like the look of Motherwell this year. A lot of players unknown, but they've got pace and power, and they're capable of scoring good goals. And they showed against Rangers today. Hearts will be under a lot of pressure at home. The home of fans, you know, after the derby last week as well, losing that. And being 2 goals up today away at Ross County and losing 2 late goals, so that won't do their confidence any good. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised Motherwell could go there and cause a was a shock.
Absolutely, and who's to say that it actually would be deemed a shock? Because let's speak about that Hearts result today up in Dingwall, 96th minute or so. I think many of the Hearts support the fair band of them actually that made that trip up to Dingwall at this time of year would be dreaming of the pub, thinking, right, we've got back onto winning terms. But in the 96th minute to be 2 goals to the good, to end up drawing the game 2-2, Jackie, that's kind of inexplicable, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I've not seen the goals. I obviously heard that there was a mistake from Craig Gordon at the end and a bit of tapping. But that's one of your most experienced players, not just the Hearts in the league itself. So it tells you what they're kind of up against just now. Coasting 2-0 away up there is a good result. But to lose 2 goals that late on in the game is criminal.
Where's it going wrong for Hearts right now, do you think, Ross? There was no Lauren Shanklin today. He had a wee calf issue. I think Jackie sort of alludes to it. Craig Gordon doesn't cover himself in glory for the second goal at County. But this is a really torrid time again for Neil Critchley already.
Where's it going wrong? That's the $1 million question, isn't it? It's hard to put your finger on it. And like Jackie was saying there, for Craig Gordon to make a mistake, I mean, you think how many games he's played in his career? You could probably count in, 2 hands how many mistakes he's made. He's that reliable. So, you're sort of swimming against the tide when things like that are happening. But like Jackie said there as well, 2-0 up, 96 minutes, and you come away 2-2. I tell you what, it's a lot harder to pick yourself up after that than it is if they went up there and get beat 2-0. It's going to be really, really difficult to get the boys going again. For me, one thing for me is Shanklin, his lack of goals, and not even that really, just his lack of chances. You always think with Shanklin and top strikers, if they're not scoring, then they're missing chances and they keep putting themselves back in there. But he doesn't seem to be getting many chances at all recently as well. And you talk about positives, then it's a young kid.
Spittle used to shift it out to the left for reliable Penrice, who gets there first, clips it in. James Wilson's there again! The teenager has a double. Well, it wasn't quite 79 seconds this time. Just a little longer, 126 seconds into the second half. Wilson has 2, Hearts have 2.
17 years old and he's scoring a double. It's incredible. So long may that continue for him. But yeah, it's a tough period for Hearts.
Really relying on 17-year-old James Wilson, another double today up in Dingwall. But as the guys are alluding to, that's one hell of a long and tough journey back down the road. But it's a cracking result for Ross County to back up as well. That big, finally, the duck off the back, that away win that they got last weekend or a few days ago. It's this time of year, who knows where we are. But it's a massive result for Ross County, Ross, in that relegation battle that they do just seem to always find themselves in, but always somehow manage to find themselves out of it as well.
They do, yeah. I think a big part of that is no one really likes travelling up and playing up in Dingwall, do they? So the home record's always pretty good. It's been good this season again. But like you say, I think was that 16 or 17 months they hadn't won away from home. To get that, obviously, the other day, and then you're thinking, oh no, here we go, we're 2-0 down. But that'll feel like a win for them. So that will breed even more confidence going into the next few fixtures. So they'll be looking to just sort of keep this little bit of momentum that they've got going and try and pull away a little bit more.
Not duck off the back, monkey off the back, but we can just avoid that one. Think that one never happened. But in the spirit of momentum, Hibs have managed to really find that once more. A big yet again win at home, their 4th in a row against Kilmarnock. It was a 1-0 win. Kilmarnock, we will get on to their problems shortly, but a clean sheet as well, Jackie, for David Gray, for a man for who so long was, he was banging the drum that Hibs are on the right tracks and that they are heading in the right direction, and they were getting the attacking bit right, then they were getting the defending right. It was never quite all coming together. It's coming together with aplomb now.
Yeah, actually, quite happy for him. He's under a lot of pressure earlier on in the season. Young managers, I like to see them given a chance. He's had a few shots as caretaker and stepping in there, and and he dealing with the hand that he's dealt. I think the way he's kept himself together. Get a good run of results, at least recently. Obviously, the derby gives him a real bit of confidence as well, going to Tynecastle and winning. But I actually thought they played well, especially first half in that game. Hearts come into it a little bit, but I thought Hibs over the 90 minutes were the better team. You know, getting a 1-0 win today, you know, it's only 1-0, you're thinking there, the way it's went from earlier on the season, they'd maybe lose a couple of late goals that's happened to them earlier on the season. So, no, I'm happy for David Gray. You know, as I said, his first real crack at the management himself, and, you know, it takes the pressure off him.
Don't really want to single any real player out, Ross, but if there is someone to single out at Hibs right now, I think it's Nicky Cadden. In that derby game, he was fantastic. He was bagging another assist today. Just how impressive has he been since it was a sticky start because he had that injury. He's always sort of been plagued by injuries throughout his career, but he's now finding that bit of form as Hibs are ticking as well. How big an asset has he been?
Oh, massive. And listen, I've got to be honest, I like the two of them, the two Caddens. When I went back on loan to Motherwell, Chrissy was there, and he was going through a really tough period at the time. He was come back from a long-term injury. So for me personally, to see what he's doing now back in the team after such a long layoff like that, it's really, really good to see. But no, talking about the other Cadden on the left.
Cadden to deliver, whipped in with good pace. There's Triantis! Nectarios Triantis gets his first Hibernian goal, and that will taste oh so sweet. A fantastic delivery from the left foot of Nicky Cadden.
It's just his deliveries. If you're a striker, for me personally, you want to know when your wingers are going to put the ball into the box, because especially smaller strikers like myself, you've got to time that run because you need to get across that first man, because you ain't going to beat him in the air. And I've seen it countless times this season when he just takes out his feet and just bends it round. And if you can make that run and be even only all you need is not even half a second less across that defender, you've got a chance. But yeah, he's been brilliant. He's been absolutely fantastic.
What hasn't been quite so brilliant is Kilmarnock's disciplinary record, and I don't think there's been anything more talked about on this podcast than that. That's an 8th red card in of the season for Kilmarnock already. We are only in the end of December. It is wild. I don't know how else to describe it anymore, Jackie. Have you ever heard of any such incredible disciplinary record?
No, I've not actually seen any really bad challenges, and it's quite easy to get sent off now. So watching managers getting sent off today as well, and you know, I don't think they're a dirty team by any means. So what I've seen of them, Dell always sees his team's well organised, fighting for their teammates, but maybe it's a bit of bad luck, or you know, a wee bit of silliness at times when they've got a yellow card and then getting a second yellow. But it's quite easy to do now.
It sure is. But let's get off that subject. And Jackie, let's talk about the game that you'd have a bit of interest in above perhaps others. A rather routine 4-0 win for Celtic, was it today?
Yeah, comfortable. Yeah, it was always going to be. Even, as I said, Brendan's rested the Cal McGregor and a few other players, you know, and I thought they were comfortable right from start. He's rested Maeda for maybe Thursday as well. So, yeah, I think he'll be happy coming through that. As I said, it was 4. Josh Ray, the St Johnstone goalkeeper, had quite a few good saves as well. It could have been a lot more. So, I think he'll be happy. Made a few changes later on and freshened it up and keeping everybody fresh for the Glasgow derby.
And a little bit of joy for you late on this Sunday evening as well. Dundee United leaving it offy late, but getting the job over the line thanks to Kevin Holt. Yeah,
good result against Aberdeen, and a good time to score. You know, they kind of come back at that point. Jim's done a great job this year. They're going really well coming back up. The first season back up, and you know, they look totally comfortable. They've added a few players coming in that have really come in and done really well. Again, left field in terms of knowing anything about them or being household names, but they've all settled in really well.
It's 2024's goal. Celtic and Dundee United, they've had not too bad a calendar year, but Dundee United in particular, Ross, given that it was this time last year where Dundee United and Wraith Rovers were really pitting it at the top of the Championship, United peeling away, to then get back into the Premiership and to storm it the way that they have. That's a real statement win again. I know Aberdeen have had an almighty drop in recent weeks, but that's a big one to sign off the year with, isn't it?
Yeah, listen, even though they have had the almighty drop, like you say, you've still got to, they're still a good team, still very dangerous. Dundee United have kept them at arm's length. They didn't have many chances and they've won the game. I think is that 3 or 4 points now behind Aberdeen. So Aberdeen need to be very careful because Dundee United show no sign of letting up either. But it's really good to see. It's good to see because I think the Championship's been strong for a number of years now. So I always like to see the clubs that come up having a right go, and they are. Apart from people who say, they sat in last week, a few days ago against Celtic, but you've got to do that, haven't you? I mean, no one can go toe-to-toe with Celtic. They'll get destroyed. So apart from that game, they've probably had a go in nearly every single game. And as a fan especially, that's what you want to see.
Absolutely. And a perfect segue talking about Aberdeen and the Championship. In the last few minutes, Barry Robson has been announced as the new Raith Rovers manager. Raith not quite hitting the heights so far as they did last season. We were speaking earlier about having young managers having a crack at it. Jackie, something that you like. I don't know how much of an inkling you'll have had about this, but your immediate reaction to Barry Robson in at Starks?
Yeah, happy for him. I thought he'd done a good job at Aberdeen initially. I think a wee bit like Naismith at Hearts. When it's a big change with European football, the demands of that, and having a squad to compete in both, it really, I thought Barry done well competing in the European games, and they're a bit unfortunate. But then taking that back to the domestic, I thought it was too much for the squad that he had, and likewise with Naismith at Hearts. I think that was a costly thing, and Hearts they've not really come out of that this season. Earlier on this season when they're trying to compete in both and they're adding more players into their squad. But no, I'm pleased he's back in. I'm sure he'll do a good job at Raith Rovers.
Yeah, it's still an exciting squad they have at Raith, isn't it, Ross? I know it's not quite been ticking yet under the Murray and Collins era, but it's still a very, very talented squad, especially for the second tier.
For the second tier, for sure. Very, very strong. And they have been for a while, to be honest. They've had a couple of decent managers down there as well. But just what Jackie was saying there in terms of Barry Robson, great to see him back in. I totally agree with the European one. I think a lot of the young coaches now, young managers, whatever, head coach, whatever you want to call them now, I think they like to coach. And I think when you've got a game every, 3 or 4 days or whatever, you've got recovery day 1, recovery day. You don't get a chance to get your players, your team out on the training pitch and actually show them what you want for the next game. So that's probably difficult to adjust to. But no, happy to see him back in. Totally agree with Jackie. I thought he'd done very well initially. So we'll see how he goes, but no doubt he'll do well.
Well, all the very best to Barry Robson down at Starks Park. I think that's time to wrap things up. But my many thanks to Ross McCormack and Jackie McNamara, and thank you for listening throughout 2024. Remember, we'll be here with new episodes of the Scottish Football Podcast bright and early throughout the new year. So to make sure that you don't miss out, just subscribe on BBC Sounds and have push notifications turned on in your phone. For now, though, enjoy your hogmanay.
Sir Alex Ferguson is the most successful British manager of all time.
Nobody is above him or this football club.
So how did an apprentice toolmaker from Glasgow become one of the most iconic figures in sporting history?
His strength of character, his determination, the fight in him.
He can be persuasive, he can be charming, he can be frightening.
I'm Kelly Cates, and this is Sporting Giants Sir Alex Ferguson.
I didn't want to feel, I couldn't feel.
Listen on BBC Sounds.